The theme for the weekend is expectation crushing confidence. And what you want to know if you feel like you've lost your spark or if you keep trying to grow and your mind keeps holding you back and you feel like you just keep sabotaging yourself. I'm going to let you know exactly why and exactly what it is lying underneath the surface that's been crushing and ruining your performance, your happiness, your vibe, your mojo, your spark, whatever you want to call it. And if I look a little like unkempt today, it's because I am. I got up early, I did a home workout, took my dog out for a walk, had my avocado toast, saw a client, getting ready to see my next client in a few minutes. But hey, if you're new to me, welcome to the conversation. If you're not, welcome back to the conversation. Great to have you here. I'm Dan Candell. I'm known worldwide as the anxiety relief guy. It's my job to help you unfuck your mind and uplift your life by reprogramming your subconscious mind so you can get out of your mind and into your life. And a big theme for almost all of my clients this week is they felt like something's been holding them back, something's been sabotaging them, or they've been sabotaging themselves. I've been working with a lot of athletes, a lot of executives, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who are trying to grow in their career or to do award-winning presentations. I've also worked with some authors over the past couple of weeks where they just can't seem to like get out of their own head and get out of their own way. They feel like things are such a struggle. And there is one word, I mentioned it just a moment ago, but there's one word that will cause your mind to go in a downward spiral and a tailspin, and it sabotages your performance. It crushes your confidence. It ruins your vibe. It ruins your mojo. It dampens your spark. And it is the word expectation. Raise your hand if you can resonate with that. Give me an amen. Here's why. Expectation is something that we all impose upon ourselves at certain times. And you might be wondering, well, how do I know if I have these underlying expectations living in the background of my mind? So there are some words that you want to become aware of. And if you're using these words a lot, then it means, or if you have these feelings a lot, then it means you have expectations that are the driving force behind you making decisions, or expectations that are running the race. And expectations create stress, they create pressure, and they usually create performance anxiety, and they keep us stuck and confined. And sometimes expectations can be from external sources. Like I know for me, I had a lot of expectations about building my career that came from my very own profession as a hypnotist. One of the things that I learned, and I started hypnosis at a very young age, and one of the things that I learned was kind of the path that the traditional hypnotist goes on in order to make a living and grow their career. And then there's kind of a ceiling that they get to, and most people just hit that ceiling and accept that. And I refused to accept that, but that expectation was still there lying underneath the surface at a subconscious level. So here are some of the words that probably rattle around in your mind that tell you if you have expectations lying underneath the surface that are driving the crazy train. Words like must, should, have to. I like to call must. In fact, I'm going to thank my friend Howard Cooper for this. I don't think he's the one that came up with this, but he says it and he's British, and I love how he says this with his accent. It's masturbation. Many of us spend way too much time masturbating, or as Howard says it, masturbating. I love that. I love that. Thank you, Howard. Another word is should. We should all over ourselves all the time. And it's never good to should on yourself. And then the other word is have to. Oh, I have to do this in order to get here. I must do this in order to get here. I should be doing this, but I'm not. And that creates feelings of pressure. And when we cave under pressure, we feel guilty. We feel ashamed. It's a confidence killer. It's a vibe killer. Think of it. A lot of people I've even worked with who have performance anxiety in the bedroom. And guess what crushes their libido or their mojo? Expectation. And our expectations usually are a direct consequence of limiting belief systems or lack of knowledge. So let me explain this to you. This is how I created in my own mind an expectation that I didn't even realize was there. And it was a limiting belief that I had for a long time until I provided myself with proof. I'm going to show you one way that you can effectively overcome some of that expectation, some of that pressure, some of the musts and shoulds and demands that you place on yourself. So, one of the expectations that I had, like I said, came from my profession. Another one came from mentors that I really respected, and it created internalized expectations. So, many of you following me, you know that I'm a comedian, stage hypnotist. I also used to be a magician and a mentalist. I still do it as a hobby. I still do some mentalism shows from time to time, but I do them because I like to do them. So when I was younger, I would notice that there were a certain time of year where some of the mentors I had, they would tell me, Dan, you are never going to get any bookings during this time of year. And the time was usually around like from after Christmas until about like March. And they said in that like 2 to 3 month gap, you are not going to get any bookings. And I believed it. And I bought into that. And I just expected that, oh, I'm not really going to get anything over those 3 months. So I believed that and I internalized that and I expected it. So after about 2 years of buying into that delusion, I started seeing people as I started to get a little bit bigger into the profession. I started seeing people that were really busy during that time of year. And so I asked them, what are you doing to create business during that time of year? And they told me, and I started doing the same thing. But because I already didn't have anything, I didn't really have an expectation. And because I didn't have an expectation, though, I was so appreciative when I got more business during those times that used to be my down months. Uh, the same thing plays out in business today. Now, I have a booming business. I work with a lot of people. And one of the things that I do when I do certain promotions, when I open up spots in my collective, when I open up spots in my programs, or even if I do individual sessions, I don't have any expectation. Because if you go in with expectation, you're going to disappoint yourself if those expectations aren't met. So one of the ways that you can decrease or eliminate the expectation is by proof from other people that what you want to achieve is possible. But be careful, though, that you're not measuring yourself up to those other people. And when you start modeling some of the things that those other people do, again, you don't expect you're going to get the same thing because we're all on different journeys, but you can start to, in your mind, tell yourself a different story that, oh my gosh, this is possible. This is possible. And accept the reality that this may not be possible for me right now, but when I start putting in the work that this person is putting in, it can be possible for me. One of the other great ways to eliminate expectations, which decreases the pressure, is not just through education, but it's through communicating with your subconscious mind. And that's where I use hypnosis. Not just with other people, I also use self-hypnosis. I'll give you another example of this. A couple of weeks ago, I was teaching a class, and I got 38 people in my class. And I was talking to another woman who's a therapist and who's a hypnotist. And she said to me, and I said, yeah, I only got 38 people in my class. And she said, only 38 people? Only 38 people? She goes, I would be happy if I got 38 people to a free event, let alone a paid event. And she's like, now I'm going to expect that I'm like, hold on, don't expect, because we have very different ways of working. We have very different ways of marketing. We're very different people. So the expectations that we create usually are false expectations because we're trying to measure ourselves up to other people, and that comes from something that's within us. So if you really want to crush those expectations, you can bring up those feelings, sensations, and emotions that will crush those expectations. You bring those to the surface. Let me tell you about some of the feelings, sensations, and emotions that can crush expectation. And this is based on all the work I've done with the clients I've seen over the past 2 weeks to help them release expectation. Some of the things that will decrease or crush expectation, crush the musts, the shoulds, the doubts. Number one is passion. Passion. Because we don't really have that much of an expectation of things we're passionate about. We do it because we're passionate about it. Now, how do we get closer to passion? Gratitude, appreciation, openness. And when we're grateful for the things that we're creating and the momentum that we're gaining, all of a sudden the pressure disappears because pressure can't really exist when passion exists. So let passion be your driving force. And when you do, you're going to notice expectation falls by the wayside. So, number one, if you notice that something is happening within you where you keep hitting a glass ceiling, where you keep sabotaging yourself, where you have these limiting beliefs, I can almost guarantee you that if you traced it back, it would all be about expectation. That expectation which creates pressure. You know you have expectation if you use words like should or must, or even if you feel disappointed in yourself, it's all based on that expectation, and we need to release that expectation. If this video resonated with you, if this message resonated with you, please let me know in the comments section. Also, please like and share this as well with other people who you think can use it. If you haven't subscribed, if you haven't followed me, please do so that way you can get notifications and updates, because I do a lot of videos about these topics to help you grow and to help you unfuck your mind and uplift your life so you can embrace your inner badass. If you do need help, and if you would like to pursue what it looks like to work with me, there's a link somewhere in the description of this video or below this video that will help you do that. As always, my friends, be well, do good, be true to who you are, happy healing, and frickin' crush those expectations. Let's do this.